Welcome to an extraordinary journey in personal development and self-transcendence. As we explore the pages of Napoleon Hill's Forge Your Character, we will set out on a transformative path to the core of success, both in heart and mind. Imagine a world where every dream is within reach, where each challenge becomes an opportunity for growth, and where the strength of your character serves as the master key to unlocking your fullest potential. Throughout this journey, you will not only gain timeless wisdom from one of the greatest masters of success, but also find yourself inspired, challenged, and empowered to achieve new heights in every aspect of your life. Guided by Napoleon Hill's profound insights, we will enter a realm of endless possibilities, where courage, determination, and vision come together to shape the masterpiece that is your character. From the depths of adversity to the peaks of triumph, each chapter will bring you closer to realizing your true potential, steering you with passion and wisdom toward your loftiest goals. Prepare to embark on an epic quest for personal fulfillment, where you will uncover a boundless power within yourself, waiting to be unleashed. Join us on this exciting adventure as we forge the character that will lead you to greatness. What is an attractive personality? Of course, it is a personality that attracts, but what makes a personality attractive? Your personality is the total sum of the traits and appearances that set you apart from everyone else. The clothes you wear, the lines on your face, the tone of your voice, the thoughts you have, and the character you have developed through these thoughts. All of these make up parts of your personality. Whether your personality is attractive or not is another question. The most important part of your personality is represented by your character and therefore is not visible. The style of your clothing and its appropriateness also constitute a very important part of your personality, as people certainly judge by external appearance. Even the way you shake hands forms an important part of your personality and greatly contributes to attracting or repelling those to whom you extend your hand. This art can be cultivated. The expression in your eyes is also an important part of your personality, because there are people, more numerous than one might think, who can look through your eyes into your heart and see what is written there by the nature of your most secret thoughts. The vitality of your body, sometimes called personal magnetism, undoubtedly constitutes an important part of your personality. Now let's organize these external means by which the nature of our personality is expressed so that it attracts rather than repels. There is a way to express the composition of your personality that will always attract, which involves sincerely showing interest in another person's game in life. Allow me to illustrate exactly what is meant by recounting an incident that occurred a few years ago and from which I learned a lesson in sales mastery. One day, an elderly lady called my office and sent her card with a message saying that she needed to see me personally. Despite the secretary's efforts to dissuade her from visiting me, I decided that she was a poor old lady wanting to sell me a book, and remembering that my own mother was a woman, I decided to go out to the reception area and buy her book, whatever it might be. Please follow every detail closely, as you may also draw a lesson in sales mastery from this incident. As I walked down the hallway from my office, the elderly lady, who was standing right next to the railing leading to the main reception area, began to smile. I had seen many people smile, but I had never seen anyone smile as kindly as she did. It was one of those contagious smiles, as I found myself caught up in her spirit and started smiling too. When I reached the railing, the elderly lady extended her hand for me to shake. Generally, I don't become too friendly when someone calls on my office, as it is very difficult to say no if the person asks me to do something I don't want to do. However, this elderly lady seemed so innocent and harmless that I extended my hand and began to shake hers, discovering then that she had not only an attractive smile, but also a magnetic handshake. She took my hand firmly, but not too firmly, and the way she did it made me feel as if it was she who was welcoming me. She made me feel that she was genuinely and sincerely pleased to shake my hand. I have shaken hands with several thousand people throughout my public career, but I do not recall ever having experienced such an impactful and memorable handshake as the one given to me by that remarkable old lady. From the very moment her hand made contact with mine, I felt an immediate and profound effect. It was as though a powerful wave of warmth and sincerity swept over me, leaving me with a deep-seated sense of connection and openness. Her handshake was not just a simple gesture. It was an expression of genuine warmth and heartfelt sincerity. The moment our hands clasped, I felt a wave of trust and empathy emanate from her, making me instantly receptive to her presence and intentions. It was as if her handshake had the power to bypass any defenses I might have had, disarming me completely and rendering me open to whatever she sought. This old lady's handshake had a transformative effect on me. It dismantled the barriers I usually erect when faced with salespeople or strangers, trying to persuade me to engage with something I'm not interested in. I often retreat into a defensive shell, one that is cautious and guarded, but her penetrating smile and warm embrace completely disarmed this shield. Her ability to make me feel instantly connected and valued was nothing short of extraordinary. I felt compelled, almost without reservation, to assist her in any way I could to help her achieve her goals. In a single powerful moment, she had turned me from a skeptical and guarded individual into a willing and enthusiastic ally. The ease with which she made this transformation happen was a testament to her mastery of the art of genuine human connection. Her handshake was a lesson in the profound impact that authentic human interaction can have. It reminded me of the incredible power of simple yet deeply meaningful gestures and how they can break down barriers and foster a genuine sense of rapport and mutual respect. In conclusion, this kind visitor had achieved something remarkable. She had neutralized my mind and created a genuine desire within me to listen to her. This was no small feat, for it is precisely at this crucial juncture that most salespeople stumble and figuratively break their necks. The reality is that attempting to sell something to a person without first engaging their interest and making them want to listen is as futile as commanding the earth to cease its rotation. It is a fundamental truth that without establishing a connection and garnering a person's attention, any subsequent effort to persuade or sell is doomed to fail. Observe closely how this old lady adeptly utilized a smile and a warm handshake as powerful tools to open the window to my heart. Her approach was not just about physical contact. It was about creating a moment of genuine human connection. Her smile was not merely a courteous gesture, but an invitation to engage, and her handshake was more than a formal greeting. It was a bridge to a deeper level of interaction. What she accomplished with these seemingly simple actions was to break through the defenses I had built, making me receptive to her presence and message. This was a crucial step in any interaction, especially in sales or persuasion. The old lady understood that before any meaningful exchange could occur, she needed to foster a sense of trust and openness. She knew that to truly connect with someone, she had to first make them feel valued and heard. Yet, despite this impressive feat, the most significant part of the transaction was still on the horizon. The initial connection had been made, but the real test lay ahead, to maintain and build upon this newfound receptivity. The foundation had been laid, but the success of the interaction would depend on how well she navigated the subsequent steps. This involved not only continuing to engage me with sincerity and understanding, but also effectively communicating her message or purpose in a way that resonated with me. The true art of successful persuasion and sales lies in the ability to sustain and build upon the initial connection established through gestures like a smile and handshake. It requires a delicate balance of empathy, clarity, and authenticity to ensure that the listener remains engaged and motivated throughout the interaction. Thus, while the old lady's approach was exemplary in creating an initial bond, it was just the beginning of a more nuanced and thoughtful process of communication. Deliberately, as if she had all the time in the world, the old lady began to crystallize the first step of her victory by saying, "I only came to tell you that I think you are doing the most wonderful work a man can do in the world today." Each word was emphasized by a gentle yet firm handshake, and she looked through my eyes and into my heart as she spoke. When I regained my composure, I leaned over and opened the small secret latch that closed the door and said, "Come in, dear lady, come into my office." With a gallant bow that would have honored knights of old, I invited her to enter and sit for a while. When she entered my office, I indicated that she should sit in the large chair behind my desk, while I took the small, hard seat I would normally use to discourage someone from taking too much of my time. For 3/4 of an hour, I listened to one of the most brilliant and charming conversations I have ever heard in my life. From the very start, she took the initiative and direction, and until the end of those first 3/4 of an hour, I found no objection on my part to contest her right to do so. I repeat, for those who do not grasp the full meaning of this, I was a willing listener. Now here comes the part of the story that makes me blush with shame, but I will recount it so you understand the true significance of the incident. As I said, my visitor captivated me with a brilliant and engaging conversation for 3/4 of an hour, and well, what do you think she talked about all that time? If you think she was simply trying to sell me a book, you are mistaken. She didn't use the personal pronoun I even once. As soon as she had sat in that chair, she unwrapped a package I had mistaken for a book she was trying to sell. Indeed, in the package were books, several of them, as she had a complete file of a year's worth of the magazine, of which I was then the editor-in-chief. Hills Golden flipped through the pages of those magazines and read passages she had marked here and there, assuring me in the meantime that she had always believed in the essence of the philosophy of what she was reading. So, after successfully captivating me and making me completely receptive to her presence, my visitor began to skillfully guide the conversation toward a topic that she had likely prepared in advance, long before arriving at my office. However, this transition from building rapport to presenting her main topic was executed with such finesse that it highlighted a crucial element often overlooked by many salespeople. If she had reversed the order of her conversation, starting with her pitch and ending with her efforts to connect on a personal level, it is highly likely that she would never have had the opportunity to sit in that large chair, much less make a meaningful impression. The sequence of her approach was integral to her success. It was her initial ability to engage me on a personal and emotional level that set the stage for the next phase of her visit. During the final 3 minutes of her visit, she adeptly turned the conversation towards the benefits of the titles she was selling. She did this with a level of skill that was both subtle and effective. Instead of directly asking me to make a purchase, she carefully presented the merits of these titles in a way that was compelling and persuasive. The manner in which she spoke about the value of these titles was influenced by the groundwork she had laid earlier. Her previous efforts to connect with me had created a psychological environment in which I was not only open to hearing about her offerings, but also inclined to view them positively. This approach had a profound psychological effect on me. By first establishing a connection and demonstrating genuine interest in my work, she created a sense of goodwill and trust. When she then presented her titles, the positive impression she had already made influenced my perception of her offerings. Her ability to seamlessly integrate her pitch into the conversation without making it seem forced or intrusive was a testament to her skill in sales. The way she had impressed me with the merits of my own work, coupled with her thoughtful presentation of her titles, had a powerful psychological effect. It made me not just receptive, but actually inclined to consider purchasing the titles she was selling. Her strategy of building rapport before making her pitch had created a situation where I felt a natural desire to reciprocate her positive engagement by showing interest in her products. In essence, her success lay in her understanding of the psychological dynamics at play. She knew that by establishing a personal connection first, she could create a favorable context for presenting her sales pitch. This nuanced approach, where she shifted the focus from personal connection to product benefits at just the right moment, was key to her effectiveness and to the overall positive outcome of her visit. Even though I did not buy anything from her, she made a sale because, immediately afterward, I took the phone and connected her with a man to whom she then sold more than 5 times the amount she had originally intended to sell to me. If that same woman or another person with the tact and personality she had called me, I would sit back and listen to her for 3/4 of an hour. We are all human and more or less vain. We are all alike in this regard. We will listen with intense interest to anyone who has the tact to talk to us about what interests us the most. Conversely, we will also pay particular attention when the conversation turns to the topic that interests them the most. Ultimately, not only will we agree with what they are saying, but we will also say, what a wonderful personality they have. A few years ago, in the bustling city of Chicago, I had the privilege of running a sales school for a prominent title company that boasted a workforce of over 1,500 salespeople. This massive organization required a continuous influx of fresh talent to maintain its dynamic workforce, necessitating the recruitment and training of 600 new salespeople each week. With such a high turnover and an ever-expanding team, the school became a crucial hub for molding and integrating new recruits into the company's operations. Among the thousands of men and women who passed through the doors of this school, there was only one individual who truly grasped the essence of the principle I am about to describe. This person stood out not because of prior experience or exceptional talent in sales, but rather because of his unique approach and understanding. When he first joined the training program, he candidly admitted that he had never tried his hand at selling securities, and in fact, did not consider himself a salesperson by any stretch. This admission set him apart, marking him as someone open to learning and adapting, rather than someone set in their ways. As his training progressed, it became clear that this man had a remarkable aptitude for applying the principles we were teaching. However, his abilities were put to a more rigorous test when a top salesperson, known for their seasoned expertise and a certain sense of mischief, decided to play a prank on him. This top salesperson, thinking that the newcomer was perhaps overly earnest and susceptible to gullibility, concocted a scheme to see if the new recruit would fall for a fabricated sales tip. The top salesperson presented him with an inside tip on where he might be able to sell securities with minimal effort. This so-called tip was designed to sound enticing and credible, offering an opportunity that seemed too good to be true. The seasoned salesperson's intent was to test whether this newcomer, who had previously claimed no real sales experience, would take the bait or show discernment. What happened next was telling. Instead of rushing to act on the tip, the new recruit approached the situation with a level-headed and cautious demeanor. He scrutinized the advice with a healthy dose of skepticism and did not allow himself to be swayed by the allure of an easy opportunity. His reaction demonstrated not only his understanding of the principles of effective salesmanship, but also his ability to critically evaluate and navigate the complexities of the sales environment. This incident highlighted a crucial aspect of sales training, the importance of not only learning the techniques and strategies, but also developing the wisdom to apply them judiciously. The new recruit's response to the prank reflected his deep grasp of the sales principles and his ability to maintain integrity and composure in the face of potential deception. Ultimately, this episode served as a testament to the effectiveness of the training program and the potential for individuals to rise above mere preconceptions about their abilities. It also underscored the fact that true sales prowess is not just about employing specific tactics, but about cultivating a broader understanding and application of fundamental principles. This star would have made the sale herself, according to her, but the man she referred to as a potential buyer was an ordinary artist who would buy with such little insistence that she, being a star, did not want to waste her time with him. The newly trained salesperson was delighted to receive this favor and immediately set out to close the sale. As soon as he left the office, the star gathered the other stars around her and told them the joke she had made up. For in reality, the artist was a very wealthy man, and the star herself had spent almost a month trying to sell to him without success. So the whole group realized that they too had approached this artist but had failed to interest him. The newly trained salesperson was gone for an hour and a half. Upon his return, he found the stars waiting for him with smiles on their faces. To their great surprise, the new salesperson also had a broad smile. The stars looked at each other in puzzlement, expecting the novice to be discouraged. "So did you sell to your man?" asked the instigator of the joke. "That's right," replied the newcomer, "and I discovered that this artist was everything you said he was, a perfect gentleman and a very interesting man." Reaching into his pocket, he pulled out an order and a check for $2,000. The stars wanted to know how he had done it. "Oh, it wasn't difficult," replied the newly trained salesperson. "I simply went in, talked with him for a few minutes, and he was the one who brought up the subject of the securities and said he wanted to buy, so in reality I didn't sell to him. He bought of his own accord." When I learned of the transaction, I was intrigued and decided to call the new salesperson to gain a deeper understanding of how he had managed to close the sale so effectively. I asked him to provide a detailed account of his approach and the steps he took to secure the deal. He recounted the experience to me with clarity, and I will relay it exactly as he described it. Upon arriving at the artist's studio, the salesperson encountered a setting that was both intimate and focused. The artist was deeply engrossed in his work, completely absorbed in the act of painting. The atmosphere in the studio was one of quiet concentration, with the artist's attention entirely consumed by the canvas before him. So engrossed was the artist in his creative process that he did not notice the salesperson's arrival. The salesperson, understanding the importance of respecting the artist's space and state of mind, approached the painting quietly. He made no immediate attempt to draw attention to himself. Instead, he stood there observing the artwork in silence. His goal was to demonstrate respect for the artist's work and to allow him to become aware of his presence naturally. After a period of silent observation, the artist finally glanced up and noticed the new arrival. The salesperson took this opportunity to apologize for the unannounced intrusion, expressing his regret for having interrupted the artist's creative process. This polite acknowledgement of the interruption served to ease any potential tension and set a positive tone for the interaction that was to follow. With the ice broken, the salesperson transitioned the conversation to discuss the painting that the artist was working on. He was well prepared for this part of the interaction, having a sufficient understanding of art to engage in a meaningful discussion. His knowledge and genuine interest allowed him to converse with the artist about the painting's merits in an informed and intelligent manner. This approach was not just about making small talk, it was about connecting with the artist on a level that showed appreciation and respect for his work. The salesperson took a moment to express his admiration for the painting, giving the artist direct and honest feedback. He communicated his liking for the artwork clearly and sincerely, which helped to build a rapport between them. By demonstrating genuine interest and providing thoughtful commentary on the painting, the salesperson was able to create a connection with the artist that went beyond mere transactional interaction. This approach was crucial in setting the stage for a successful sales conversation. It highlighted the salesperson's ability to engage with potential clients on a personal level, showing that he valued their work and opinions. This kind of engagement not only made the artist more receptive to the salesperson's pitch, but also established a foundation of trust and mutual respect. In summary, the salesperson's strategy was a perfect example of how to build rapport and credibility by showing genuine interest and respect. This approach not only facilitated the sale, but also exemplified the power of connecting with clients through thoughtful and respectful interaction. For nearly an hour, these two men talked about nothing but art, and, in particular, the painting the artist was working on. Eventually, the artist asked the salesperson his name and profession. The salesperson replied, "Oh, it doesn't matter what my profession or name is. What interests me most is you and your art." The artist's face lit up with a joyful smile. These words sounded like sweet music to his ears. But, not to be outdone by his courteous visitor, the artist insisted on knowing the purpose that had brought the salesperson to his studio. So, with an air of genuine nonchalance that was almost effortless, this salesmaster, a true star in the art of sales, introduced himself with a demeanor that radiated both confidence and ease. He approached the situation with a casual grace that suggested he was entirely at ease with the process, treating the interaction as a simple, natural conversation rather than a high-pressure sales pitch. With a friendly smile and an approachable manner, he took the opportunity to explain his business succinctly. He presented a brief yet clear overview of the securities he was selling, making sure to communicate the essential details in a manner that was engaging and easy to understand. His approach was carefully crafted to be informative without overwhelming, providing just enough information to spark interest while leaving room for further questions and discussion. As he described the securities, he noticed that the artist listened attentively, almost as if savoring each word. The artist's response was marked by a genuine interest, indicating that the salesperson had effectively captured his attention. The atmosphere was relaxed and the artist appeared to be receptive, appreciating the salesperson's considerate approach. When the salesperson concluded his presentation, the artist leaned back, reflecting on the conversation. He then remarked, "Well, I was very foolish. Other salespeople from your company have come here trying to sell me some of these securities, but they only talked business. In fact, they annoyed me so much that I had to ask one of them to leave." What was that fellow's name again? This remark from the artist underscored a critical difference between the salesperson and his predecessors. Unlike the others who had focused solely on the transactional aspect of their visit, often to the point of irritation, this salesmaster had engaged the artist in a manner that was both respectful and personable. His ability to make the conversation enjoyable rather than merely transactional had evidently set him apart from the previous salespeople. The artist's comment revealed a significant insight. The previous salespeople had failed to connect on a personal level, instead approaching their task with a narrow focus on pushing their products. Their lack of engagement and disregard for building a relationship had led to frustration and ultimately rejection. In contrast, the current salesperson had succeeded in creating a positive experience through a thoughtful and considerate approach. By eliciting this response from the artist, the salesperson demonstrated the effectiveness of his strategy. He had not only succeeded in capturing the artist's attention, but had also positioned himself as someone who understood the art of salesmanship in a way that was both respectful and impactful. This approach not only facilitated the sale, but also established a foundation of trust and appreciation that was crucial for a successful transaction. The artist's reaction served as a testament to the power of engaging with potential clients on a personal level, illustrating how a well-executed approach can make a significant difference in the outcome of a sales interaction. It highlighted the value of treating each client as an individual with unique needs and preferences rather than simply as a target for a sales pitch. That was Mr. Perkins. Perkins was the star who had devised this clever joke to mock the new salesperson. "But you present the matter so differently, and now I see how foolish I was, and want you to let me have $2,000 worth of these securities." Think about that. He presented the matter so differently. And how did this salesperson present the matter differently? To put it another way, what did he actually sell to this artist? Did he sell him securities? No, he sold him his own painting that he was creating on his own canvas. The securities were just an incident. Don't overlook this point. This salesmaster had internalized a critical lesson from his encounter with the old lady who had managed to captivate me for 3/4 of an hour by discussing topics that were of genuine interest to me. The impact of that interaction was so profound that it deeply influenced his approach to sales. He understood that the essence of effective selling lay in identifying and addressing the interests and needs of potential buyers, rather than simply pushing a product. Inspired by this realization, he dedicated himself to a meticulous study of his potential clients, delving into their individual preferences and concerns to tailor his approach accordingly. Rather than adopting a one-size-fits-all strategy, this new salesperson invested time and effort into researching what would resonate most with each person he met. He aimed to uncover the specific topics, values, and interests that mattered to them. This careful and personalized approach allowed him to engage his clients in meaningful conversations, focusing on what genuinely captured their attention. By aligning his pitch with their personal interests, he was able to create a connection that went beyond mere transactions. The results of this methodical and thoughtful approach were striking. In his very first month in the field, this new salesperson achieved a remarkable feat, earning $7,900 in commissions. This impressive sum was not merely a reflection of his hard work, but also of his strategic application of the principles he had learned. His success underscored the effectiveness of understanding and addressing the individual needs and interests of clients, as well as the importance of building relationships based on mutual understanding and respect. This achievement highlighted a fundamental truth in sales, that success often hinges on the ability to connect with clients on a personal level. By focusing on what truly mattered to his clients and tailoring his approach to their specific interests, this salesperson demonstrated that salesmanship is not just about selling a product, but about engaging with people in a way that is both meaningful and effective. His outstanding performance in his initial month was a testament to the power of personalized selling and the significant impact that understanding and addressing clients' interests can have on achieving sales success. A Carnegie, a Rockefeller, a James J. Hill, or a Marshall accumulate wealth by applying the same principles that are within everyone's reach. But people only envy their wealth without ever thinking of studying their philosophy and using it for themselves. We look at a successful person at the time of his triumph and wonder how he did it, but we forget the importance of analyzing his methods and neglect the price he had to pay before reaping the fruits of his efforts. Throughout this comprehensive course on the law of success, you will not encounter any entirely new principles. Instead, you will find that each principle discussed is as ancient as civilization itself, with roots deeply embedded in the fabric of human history and social interactions. These timeless principles have been recognized and utilized by successful individuals across generations, forming the foundation of effective strategies and behaviors. However, despite the long-standing nature of these principles, there is a notable scarcity of individuals who genuinely grasp how to apply them effectively. This gap between knowledge and application is what sets apart those who excel in their endeavors from those who merely struggle. The young man who successfully sold securities to the artist serves as a prime example of this disparity. He was not merely a skilled salesperson, but also someone who exemplified the qualities of an attractive personality, despite not being conventionally charming. It's worth noting that while he may not have possessed traditional charms, his ability to connect and engage with others was undeniable. The fact that he was the target of a practical joke by a top salesperson suggests that he was perceived as somewhat naive or inexperienced. Yet his effectiveness in closing the sale highlighted an important lesson. Even individuals who might not conform to typical standards of charm can still possess a highly appealing personality. This appeal is often derived from qualities such as genuine interest, attentiveness, and the ability to create meaningful connections with others. The young man's success demonstrates that an attractive personality is not solely about inherent charm or outward appearances. It is about how one engages with others, the sincerity of their approach, and their ability to resonate with the interests and needs of those they interact with. The true essence of an appealing personality lies in its capacity to foster genuine connections and to build trust and rapport, regardless of traditional notions of charm. Thus, while the principles explored in this course are ancient, their application remains highly relevant and critical to achieving success. Understanding and mastering these principles, as exemplified by the young man's approach, can significantly enhance one's ability to connect with others and to achieve desired outcomes. This reinforces the notion that the power of these time-honored principles lies not in their novelty, but in their effective application, which can transform ordinary interactions into extraordinary successes. Of course, some people will have a misconception of the principle I am trying to clarify here, concluding that any kind of cheap flattery will replace sincere interest from the heart. I hope you are not one of them. I hope you are among those who understand the true psychology underlying this lesson and that you are committed to studying others deeply enough to find something in them or their work that you genuinely admire. Only then can you develop a personality that is attractive to others. Cheap flattery has exactly the opposite effect of building an appealing personality. It repels rather than attracts. It is so superficial that even the uninitiated can easily detect it. Imagination, cooperation, and a pleasant personality can combine to create usable ideas. All thinkers know that ideas are the source of all successes. However, the most frequent question is, how can I learn to create ideas that make money? We will partly answer this question in this lesson by suggesting a few innovative ideas, each of which could be developed and monetized by most people in any locality. Idea number 1. The Great World War deprived Germany of its enormous toy trade. Before the war, we bought the majority of our toys from Germany. It is unlikely that we will buy more toys from German manufacturers today or in the near future. Toys are in demand not only in the United States but also in foreign countries, many of which will not buy toys from Germany. Our only competitor is Japan, and their toys are of such low quality that their competition means nothing. But what type of toys should I manufacture, and where will I find the capital to start the business? These are crucial questions that require thoughtful consideration and strategic planning. Let's break down the process into actionable steps to address these concerns effectively. First and foremost, start by conducting thorough market research. Visit toy distributors and retailers to gather information on the types of toys that are currently popular and selling well. Understanding market trends and consumer preferences will help you identify gaps in the market or potential areas for innovation. Pay attention to which toys are in high demand and which ones are lagging, as this insight will guide you in choosing a product that has a promising market potential. Once you have a clear idea of the market dynamics, you need to assess your own capabilities and resources. If you do not feel confident about improving existing toys or coming up with a unique design on your own, consider collaborating with an inventor. Look for individuals who have creative ideas for marketable toys but lack the resources or expertise to bring them to fruition. Partnering with an inventor who has a compelling concept can provide you with the innovative edge needed for your business. When you find an inventor with a promising idea, ask them to create a functional prototype of the toy. This prototype will serve as a tangible representation of the concept and help you evaluate its feasibility and market appeal. Once you have a working model, the next step is to find a small manufacturer who can produce the toy on a larger scale. Research potential manufacturers and choose one that can meet your production needs while ensuring quality and cost-effectiveness. With the prototype and manufacturing plan in place, you will have a clearer understanding of the production costs. This information is essential when approaching potential investors or distributors. Seek out major entrepreneurs or distribution companies who have the capacity to handle large volumes and who are interested in new and innovative products. Present your business plan, prototype, and cost estimates to them and negotiate terms for selling your product. To secure the necessary capital to start the business, consider exploring various funding options. These may include seeking investment from venture capitalists, applying for business loans, or even crowdfunding. Having a well-prepared business plan and a clear understanding of your production costs will strengthen your case when pitching to potential investors. In summary, starting a toy manufacturing business involves several key steps: researching market trends, collaborating with inventors, developing a functional prototype, finding a suitable manufacturer, and securing funding through investors or distributors. By systematically addressing each of these aspects, you can position yourself for success in the competitive toy industry. If you are a skilled salesperson, you can finance the entire project with the few dollars needed to pay for the inventor's advertising. When you find this person, you might be able to agree with him that he works on a model for you during his evening free time, with the promise of offering him a better job when you start manufacturing your own toys. He is likely to give you all the time you need to pay him for his work, or he might agree to work in exchange for a stake in the business. You can arrange for your toy manufacturer to wait for payment until the business that sells them pays you, and if necessary, you can give him the invoices for the sold toys so he receives the money directly. Of course, if you have an exceptionally pleasant and persuasive personality and considerable organizational ability, you could take your toy's functional model to a wealthy individual and, in exchange for a share in the business, secure the capital needed to start your own production. If you want to know what will sell in the toy industry, a highly effective approach is to closely observe a group of children as they play. Children are remarkably candid about their preferences and interests. By watching them interact with various toys, you can gain valuable insights into what captivates their attention and sparks their imagination. Take note of the toys that are particularly popular and those that are quickly abandoned. Study their likes and dislikes and pay attention to the specific features or themes that seem to engage them the most. This observational research will provide you with a solid foundation for generating ideas for your own toy designs. Additionally, consider conducting informal focus groups or interviews with parents and caregivers. They can offer insights into what they believe their children enjoy, as well as any gaps they perceive in the current market. By combining observations of children with feedback from adults, you can develop a well-rounded understanding of market needs and preferences. It's important to remember that inventing a successful toy doesn't require extraordinary genius. Often, common sense and a keen understanding of consumer desires are more than sufficient. Your goal should be to identify what people want and then create a product that fulfills that desire. To stand out in a crowded market, focus on doing it better than others. Add unique features or design elements that set your toy apart from the competition. This touch of individuality can make your toy more memorable and appealing to both children and their parents. Moreover, consider trends and themes that are currently popular. For example, toys that promote creativity, physical activity, or educational value often resonate well with parents. Incorporating these elements into your design can enhance the appeal of your product. However, don't forget that simplicity can also be powerful. Sometimes the most successful toys are those that are straightforward but offer exceptional fun or engagement. Each year, millions of dollars are spent on toys designed to entertain and educate children. This significant investment by consumers highlights the continuous demand for new and innovative products. By carefully studying the market and understanding what captivates children, you can position yourself to tap into this lucrative market. Develop a product that meets the identified needs, incorporates distinctive features, and delivers quality entertainment. And you will likely find success in the toy industry. In summary, to create a toy that will sell well, observe children playing to understand their preferences, use common sense to identify what people want, and focus on creating a product that offers unique value. By combining these strategies with effective marketing and production, you can make a meaningful impact in the toy industry. Make your new toy useful and interesting if possible, and educational. If it entertains and teaches at the same time, it will sell easily and endure over time. Ensure that it teaches the child something about the world they live in: geography, arithmetic, English, philosophy, etc. Or better yet, create a toy that makes the child run, jump, or exercise in some way. Children love to move, and movement is beneficial for them, especially when stimulated by a fun game. An indoor baseball game would be a bestseller, especially in cities. Set up a device to attach the ball to a string hanging from the ceiling so that a child can throw the ball against the wall, then step back and hit it with a bat when it bounces back. In other words, a baseball game for one child. Plan number 2. This will only interest the man or woman who has self-confidence and the ambition to take risks to achieve incredible income that most people do not have. It is a suggestion that at least 40 or 50 people in all major cities in the United States, and a smaller number in small towns, could implement. It is aimed at the person who knows how to write, or who wants to learn to write, advertising copy, sales brochures, follow-up letters, collection letters, and more. By using the writing ability we assume you possess, you can make practical and profitable use of this suggestion with the help of a good advertising agency and 5 businesses or individuals. First, you need to approach the agency and agree for them to hire you and pay you 7% of the gross expenses for all the business you bring them. This 7% corresponds to the compensation for getting the account, writing the copy, and serving the client in managing their advertising credit. Any reputable agency will gladly give you this amount for all the business you bring them. Next, approach a business or individual you want to manage the advertising account for, and tell them in essence that you wish to work without remuneration. Explain what you can do and what you intend to do for their business to help them sell more products. If the business employs an advertising manager, you will essentially become their unpaid assistant, provided the advertising credit is placed through the agency with which you have a connection. In this way, the business whose account you manage will benefit from your personal services at no cost, and will only pay for placing their advertising through your agency. If your campaign is convincing, and you take the necessary time to prepare your case, you will secure their account with little effort. You can repeat this process until you have as many accounts as you can handle, which, under normal conditions, will not be more than 10 or 12, or even fewer. If one or more of your clients spend over $25,000 a year on advertising, if you are a skilled advertising copywriter, and have the ability to create new and profitable ideas for your clients, you will be able to keep their business year after year. Of course, you must understand that you will need to take on more accounts than you can manage individually. You must spend some of your time at each of your clients' workplaces. In fact, you need to have an office and working equipment on site so that you can obtain first-hand information about your clients' sales problems as well as accurate information about their products and goods. With this type of diligent and strategic effort, you will not only establish your advertising agency as a beacon of effective service, but also differentiate it from competitors in a way that cannot be achieved through conventional methods. By focusing on delivering exceptional results, you will build a solid reputation for your agency, making it known for its capability to deliver tangible, satisfying returns on investment for clients. This reputation will serve as a powerful marketing tool in itself, attracting more clients and solidifying your position in the industry. Satisfying your clients is paramount, as their success is directly linked to your own. When clients see a significant and satisfying return on their investment, they are more likely to remain loyal and refer your agency to others. This loyalty and word-of-mouth promotion will ensure a steady stream of business, thereby securing your position and income in the industry. As long as you continue to meet and exceed client expectations, your work will remain secure and your earnings will reflect the value you bring. Under this plan, a reasonable earning prospect would be a gross turnover of $250,000 per year. With your 7% commission on this turnover, you would earn $17,500 annually. This figure demonstrates the financial potential of the plan, highlighting the substantial earning capacity that comes with this line of work. Not only does it offer the prospect of substantial income, but it also allows for independent work, giving you the freedom to manage your own business effectively. Furthermore, this model is advantageous compared to a traditional position as an advertising manager, even if the managerial role offers a similar salary. The primary distinction lies in the fact that, with this plan, you are essentially operating your own business. This independence not only provides you with greater control over your work, but also enhances your personal and professional reputation. Your name becomes associated with high-quality service and success, which can lead to further opportunities and recognition in the industry. In addition to the financial benefits and increased autonomy, working under this plan allows you to leverage your full earning potential. Unlike a fixed managerial salary, where income is capped by the organization's pay structure, this model gives you 100% of your earning capacity based on your performance and results. This means that the more successful you are in delivering results and satisfying clients, the more you stand to earn. Overall, this plan presents a compelling opportunity for those who are committed to excellence and driven by the prospect of building their own reputation and business. It combines financial potential with independence and the chance to establish a distinguished presence in the advertising industry, making it a highly attractive option for ambitious professionals. Plan number 3. This plan can be implemented by almost any man or woman of average intelligence with very little preparation. Go to a top-notch printing company and arrange for them to handle all the business you bring them, allowing you a commission of, say, 10% of the gross amount. Next, approach the largest users of printed materials and obtain samples of everything they use in the field of printing. Establish a partnership or working agreement with a commercial artist who will review all this printed material and, whenever appropriate, improve the illustrations or create new illustrations where there were none before, by making a pencil sketch that can be applied to the original printed material. Then, if you are not a copywriter, make an agreement with someone who is and ask them to review and improve the text of the printed material in all possible aspects. Once the work is completed, return to the company from which you obtained the printed material, bringing the quotes for the work and showing what can be done to improve it. However, it's crucial that you hold off on discussing your quotes and pricing until you have thoroughly demonstrated the significant improvements you can make to the printed material. Your primary focus should be on showcasing how your expertise and enhancements can elevate the quality of the work, as this will be the key to securing business from that company. By first proving the value of your service through tangible improvements, you position yourself as indispensable. making it more likely that you will capture all the printing business the company has to offer. Extend this approach to all the printing projects you handle. If you consistently deliver high-quality improvements and demonstrate the positive impact of your work, you will quickly become the go-to service provider for all related projects. The success of this strategy hinges on your ability to offer exceptional service that meets and exceeds client expectations. As you build a reputation for excellence, the volume of work you handle will grow accordingly. In this scenario, your role alongside your commercial artist and copywriter should be worth approximately $5,000 per year for each of you. This estimate is based on the assumption that your service level will be sufficiently high to justify this income. Your compensation reflects not only the direct income you generate, but also the broader value of your contributions in terms of organizing and coordinating the necessary talent and skills. Remember that any profit you earn from leveraging others' work within this framework is a legitimate and deserved benefit. It compensates you for your ability to effectively manage, organize, and bring together the various elements required to deliver satisfactory and improved service. Your role in orchestrating these efforts is crucial, and the financial reward you receive is a direct reflection of the value you create by enhancing the quality of the work and ensuring client satisfaction. By focusing on demonstrating your capabilities and the positive outcomes of your service before discussing pricing, you will build a strong foundation for long-term success. Clients will appreciate the value you provide, which will foster trust and lead to continued business opportunities. As a result, you will establish yourself as a preferred provider in the industry, capable of managing significant projects and earning a rewarding income. If you enter the toy business, you will be entitled to a profit from the work of those who make the toys, as it will be thanks to your ability that they have employment. It is highly likely that your brain and skills, combined with those of your collaborators, will significantly increase their earning potential to the point where they will be quite happy to see you earn a bit of money from their efforts, as they will continue to earn far more than they could without your guidance. You are ready to take one of these plans and make a profit, aren't you? You see nothing wrong with that, do you? If you are an employee working for another company, isn't it possible that the boss of that company, due to his ability to organize and finance, is currently increasing his own earning capacity? You want to move from the ranks of employees to become an entrepreneur. We don't blame you. Almost everyone wants to do the same. The first step you can take toward advancing your career is to approach your current role with the same level of commitment and dedication as you would if you were the boss. Imagine how you would like to be treated if you were in a leadership position. What kind of service, initiative, and attitude would you expect from those who work under you? Then, strive to embody those qualities in your own work. Consider who the great employers of today are. Are they merely the children of wealthy families who inherited their positions? Certainly not. Many of the prominent figures in today's business world have risen from very modest beginnings. They started their careers with no more opportunities than you, yet they have ascended to remarkable heights because of their exceptional skills, hard work, and the way they have adeptly led and inspired others. These successful individuals share common traits. They possess a strong work ethic, they continuously seek to improve their skills, and they demonstrate leadership qualities even before they hold formal leadership positions. They are characterized by their willingness to take on challenges, their proactive approach to problem solving, and their ability to motivate and guide those around them. You too have the potential to develop these attributes. By adopting a mindset that prioritizes excellent service, taking initiative, and striving for continuous improvement, you will position yourself for growth and advancement. Emulate the qualities you admire in successful leaders and integrate them into your daily work routine. Focus on understanding the needs and goals of your company and align your efforts with its objectives. Show dedication by going above and beyond your regular duties, demonstrating a proactive attitude and contributing innovative ideas. Building strong relationships with colleagues and superiors and consistently delivering high-quality work will further establish your reputation as someone who adds significant value. Remember, the journey to acquiring superior ability and leadership skills is not instantaneous. It requires persistence, self-discipline, and a willingness to learn and adapt. Each step you take towards embodying these qualities will bring you closer to reaching your career goals and securing a position of greater responsibility and influence. By embracing these principles and dedicating yourself to personal and professional growth, you will follow in the footsteps of those who have successfully navigated their paths from humble beginnings to positions of leadership. Your effort and dedication will pave the way for your advancement, proving that with the right mindset and actions, you too can achieve remarkable success. In the same city or locality where you live, there are likely people who could benefit from knowing you and who could undoubtedly be beneficial to you in return. In one part of the city lives John Smith, who wants to sell his grocery store and open a movie theater. In another part of the city, there is a man who has a movie theater and would like to exchange it for a grocery store. You can connect them. If you can, you will serve both and earn a good commission. In your town or village, there are people who want products grown on local farms. On these farms, there are farmers who grow agricultural products and want to sell them to town residents. If you find a way to deliver agricultural products directly from the farm to the city or village consumer, you will allow the farmer to earn more for their products and the consumer to obtain them for less. And there will still be a margin for you to be paid for your ingenuity in shortening the path between producer and consumer. In business, there are generally two types of people, producers and consumers. The current trend is to find a way to bring these two groups closer together with fewer intermediaries. Find a way to shorten the distance between the producer and the consumer, and you will have created a plan that helps both groups and will bring you great profits. The worker deserves their pay. If you can create such a plan, you are entitled to a fair share of what the consumer pays now and what you save the producer. Note that whatever plan you devise to make money, it is best to reduce the cost for the consumer a little. The business of connecting the producer and the consumer is profitable when conducted fairly for both parties and without a greedy desire to get everything possible. The American public is wonderfully patient with speculators who impose themselves, but there is a limit beyond which even the most astute of them will not venture. It may be acceptable to monopolize the diamond market and greatly inflate the price of these precious stones, extracted effortlessly from the earth in Africa. But when the prices of food, clothing, and other essential items begin to soar, there is a risk that someone will be perceived negatively by the American public. If you aspire to attain significant wealth and are prepared to shoulder the responsibilities and challenges that come with it, consider adopting a strategy that goes against the conventional approach to wealth accumulation. Instead of focusing solely on maximizing your profit margins and demanding the highest possible return for your goods and services, you might find greater success by initially offering your products or services at the lowest feasible price, thereby prioritizing value over immediate profit. Henry Ford, a pioneer of modern industry, exemplified this innovative approach in his business practices. He discovered that paying his workers wages that were higher than the industry standard, wages that were not just minimal but rather generous, proved to be highly beneficial. This strategy was not merely an act of goodwill. It was a calculated business decision that fostered employee loyalty, increased productivity, and reduced turnover. By investing in his workforce, Ford created a more efficient and committed team, which in turn contributed to the overall success and growth of his company. Similarly, Ford recognized the importance of offering his cars at prices that were more affordable to consumers. While many of his competitors were continuously raising their prices, often to the detriment of their customer base, Ford chose to lower the cost of his vehicles. This decision made his cars accessible to a broader segment of the population, thereby expanding his market reach and driving up sales volume. As a result, Ford was able to capitalize on economies of scale, reducing production costs per unit and ultimately increasing his profitability in the long run. The key lesson from Ford's approach is that focusing on providing exceptional value and prioritizing customer and employee satisfaction can lead to sustainable success and wealth creation. By reversing the conventional profit-maximizing strategy, you may find that offering more value at a lower cost can generate greater returns through increased market share, enhanced customer loyalty, and improved operational efficiency. Adopting this mindset requires a shift in perspective. Instead of seeing every transaction as an opportunity to extract the maximum profit, view it as a chance to build long-term relationships and establish a reputation for fairness and quality. Offering your products or services at competitive rates while ensuring high standards can create a strong foundation for growth and success. This approach also involves a willingness to bear the initial financial burden of lower profit margins. It means being patient and strategically investing in areas that will yield long-term benefits rather than seeking immediate gains. By focusing on value and accessibility, you set the stage for broader market acceptance and ultimately position yourself for greater wealth and success as your business flourishes. In essence, embracing this reversed approach to wealth accumulation aligns with the principles of sustainable business practices and ethical leadership. It demonstrates a commitment to creating value, fostering positive relationships, and contributing to the well-being of both customers and employees. Through this strategy, you not only achieve financial success, but also build a legacy of trust and respect that endures over time. It is possible that there are perfectly good plans to extort the consumer while staying out of prison, but you will enjoy much more peace of mind and most likely more long-term profits if your plan, once completed, follows Ford's guidelines. I've heard that John D. Rockefeller was heavily criticized, but most of that criticism is simply the result of pure jealousy from those who would like to have his money, but lack the will to earn it. Regardless of one's opinion of Rockefeller, it should not be forgotten that he started as a mere accountant and gradually rose to the pinnacle of wealth accumulation due to his ability to organize and smartly lead other, less capable men. This author recalls a time when one had to pay 25 cents a gallon for lamp oil and walk 2 miles under the scorching sun to bring it home in a tin can to barter. Now, Rockefeller's route delivers it to the back door of the city or farm for a little over half that amount. Who has the right to envy Rockefeller's millions when he has reduced the cost of transporting a necessary commodity? He could have raised the price of lamp oil to 50 cents, but we seriously doubt he would have become a multimillionaire if he had done so. Many of us want money, but 99 out of 100 people who embark on creating a plan to get it only think about the scheme to make a profit, not about the service they must provide in return. An appealing possibility is one that involves imagination and cooperation. We have previously mentioned how you can create ideas to show you how to coordinate the laws of imagination, cooperation, and a pleasant personality. Analyze any person who lacks a pleasant personality, and you will find they also lack imagination and cooperation skills. This leads us to a suitable place to present one of the greatest lessons on personality ever written. It is also one of the most effective lessons on the art of selling ever written, as the subjects of attractive personality and the art of selling always go hand in hand. They are inseparable. I am referring to Shakespeare's masterpiece, Mark Antony's speech at Caesar's funeral. You may have read it before, but here is a parenthetical interpretation that may help you derive a new meaning. The scene unfolds as follows. Caesar is dead, and Brutus, his assassin, is called to explain to the assembled Roman crowd at the funeral why he eliminated Caesar. Imagine a shouting crowd, not very friendly to Caesar, which already believes that Brutus has performed a noble act by assassinating him. Brutus steps up to the platform and gives a brief enumeration of his reasons for killing Caesar. Confident of his victory, he takes his place. His entire demeanor reflects someone who believes his word will be accepted without discussion, an attitude of arrogance, I mean. Mark Antony now steps up to the platform, knowing that the crowd is hostile to him because he is Caesar's friend. With a humble tone of voice, Antony begins to speak. Antony, on behalf of Brutus, I thank you. What did Brutus say? He says he is indebted to us. He better not speak ill of Brutus here. Caesar was a tyrant. No one denies it. We are lucky Rome got rid of him. Silence. Let's hear what Antony has to say. You can see in Antony's initial phrase his skillful method of neutralizing his listeners' minds. You, benevolent Roman citizens, all be silent and listen to him. Had Antony begun his speech by attacking Brutus, Rome's history would have been different. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. Aligning with what he knew to be the mood of his audience, the evil that men do lives after them. The good is oft interred with their bones. So let it be with Caesar. The noble Brutus hath told you that Caesar was ambitious. If it was so, it was a grievous fault, and grievously hath Caesar answered it. Here, under leave of Brutus and the rest, for Brutus is an honourable man, so are they all honourable men. I have come to speak in Caesar's funeral. He was my friend, faithful and just to me. But Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honourable man. He hath brought many captives home to Rome, whose ransoms did the general coffers fill. Did this in Caesar seem ambitious? When that the poor have cried, Caesar hath wept. Ambition should be made of sterner stuff. Antony's goal at this point is to observe the effect his words have on his audience. Just as a master salesman always encourages a potential buyer to speak, to understand what is on their mind. First citizen, I believe there is a lot of truth in what he says. Second citizen, if you consider it carefully, a great injustice has been done to Caesar. Third citizen, I fear worse things may come in his place. Fourth citizen, he didn't want to take the crown, so it is certain he was not ambitious. First citizen, well, if that is so, some must regret it. Second citizen, poor soul, his eyes are red as fire from weeping. Third citizen, there is no man more noble in Rome than Antony. Fourth citizen, look out, he is going to start speaking again. Antony, but yesterday Caesar's words could have upset the whole world. Now I am here, and even the most humble no longer respect him. O gentlemen, appealing to your vanity, if I were willing to stir your hearts and minds to revolt and anger, I would wrong Brutus and Cassius, who, as everyone knows, are honourable men. Observe how many times Antony repeats the word honourable. Note also how skillfully he introduces the first suggestion that perhaps Brutus and Cassius are not as honourable as the Roman mob believes. This insinuation is reflected in the words revolt and anger, which he uses for the first time after his pause has given him time to notice that the crowd is leaning towards him. Note the care with which he feels his way, and make sure his words match what he knows to be the mood of his listeners. Antony, it is not my intention to offend them. I would rather offend the dead than myself and even you than to offend such honourable men. He then crystallizes his suggestion into hatred towards Brutus and Cassius, and then appeals to their curiosity, starting to lay the groundwork for his climax. A climax he knows will win approval, because he skillfully makes the crowd believe it is their own conclusion. Antony, but here is a parchment sealed by Caesar. I found it in his chest. Listen, people, only his will, although, with your permission, it is not my intention to read it. He arouses their curiosity by making them believe he does not intend to read the will, and continues as if he had not mentioned it. Antony, the one who reads it will go to kiss Caesar's wounds and dip his handkerchiefs in his sacred blood. Yes, he will claim a horse from him as a relic, and upon his death he will pass it on by will as a relic to his children, as an inheritance. Human nature always desires what is difficult to obtain or what it is about to be deprived of. Notice how cleverly Antony has aroused the crowd's interest and made them desire the reading of the will, thus preparing them to listen with an open mind. This marks his second stage in the process of neutralizing their minds. All, the will, let's hear Caesar's will. Antony, be patient, kind friends, I must not read it. It is not fitting that you know how much I love them. Caesar being men and not wood or stones, but men, upon hearing Caesar's will, their blood will be inflamed with anger. It is not good for them to know who his heirs are, for if they did, what would happen? Fourth citizen, read the will, we want to hear it. You must read it to us, Antony. Antony, be patient, stay calm. I have gone too far in telling them this as to offend these honest men whose daggers have pierced Caesar. I truly fear the daggers and the stabs suggest a cruel murder. Note the trick Antony uses to introduce this suggestion into his speech, and observe how quickly the crowd understands its meaning, for unknowingly, Antony has carefully prepared their minds to receive this suggestion. Fourth citizen, They were traitors, all honorable names, the will, the will. Second citizen. They were villains, assassins. We want to know his will, just as Antony would have said at the beginning. But he knew it would have a more desirable effect if he planted the thought in the crowd's mind and allowed them to express it themselves. Antony. So they force me to read the will, surround Caesar's corpse and see the executor of the will descend. May I? It was at this moment that Brutus should have started looking for an exit. Everyone moves back. Third citizen. Give Antony room, the noblest of all. Antony, don't press us so. Keep your distance. I knew this order would make them want to move closer, which was what I actually wanted them to do. Antony, if you have tears, prepare to shed them. Everyone knows this shroud. I remember when Caesar wore it, it was on a summer afternoon in his tent, the day he defeated the Nervi. Here is where Cassius's dagger struck. See what wound the cruel Casca inflicted. Here is the wound caused by his beloved Brutus, and as he withdrew his accursed steel, see how Caesar's blood seemed to seek out the assassin to ensure it was indeed Brutus who had acted so vilely, for Brutus, as you know, was Caesar's angel, judged by the gods. How tenderly Caesar loved him. It was the cruelest blow of all, for noble Caesar saw that he too was wounding him, ingratitude more powerful than the daggers of traitors. This took me completely by surprise, and thus his mighty heart burst, and covering his face with the shroud, great Caesar fell at the feet of the statue of Pompey, which was stained with blood, or fell with the patriots. At that moment and today we too walk in treachery. The bloody spectre has risen against us. Now they weep, and I sense pity. These tears are compassionate and generous souls, for they weep even though they have seen nothing more than Caesar's torn tunic. Look here. Here he is, torn by the same traitors. Notice how Antony uses the word traitors with complete freedom, for he knows he is in tune with the thoughts of the Roman mob. First citizen, what a lamentable scene. Second citizen, noble Caesar. Third citizen, a day of horror. First citizen, what a bloody sight. Second citizen, we will avenge him. If Brutus had been a wise man instead of a braggart, he would have been miles away from the scene. After these cries, let everyone come, revenge, let us seek, burn, kill, let every traitor die here. Antony then takes the next step to crystallize the crowd's frenzy into action, but as a skilled salesman, he does not try to force this action. Antony carefully calms the crowd. First citizen, silence or silence, let us listen to noble Antony. Second citizen, we will listen to him, follow him, and if necessary, die with him. From these words, Antony knows he has the crowd with him. See how he takes advantage of this psychological moment, the moment that all master salespeople wait for. Antony, my good friends, sweet friends, do not let them incite you to provoke a revolt. Those who have committed this action are worthy men. What secret grievances could they have had to do this? I do not know. They are wise and honorable, and I do not doubt they will give you reasons. I am not here, my friends, to excite your passions. I am not an orator like Brutus, but as you know, I am a straightforward and simple man who loved his friend. I speak plainly and tell you nothing you do not already know. I show you the wounds of good Caesar. For if I were Brutus and Brutus were Antony, that Antony would inflame your souls and put a tongue in every wound of Caesar, able to shake and stir up rebellion even among the stones of Rome. We would all revolt. First citizen, let us burn Brutus's house. Third citizen, let us go then, come, let us seek the conspirators. Antony, allow me to continue, fellow countrymen. Listen to what I have to say. Silence, everyone. Listen to noble Antony. Antony, my friends, you do not yet know why you loved Caesar. Unfortunately, you do not know. Well, I will tell you. You have forgotten the will I spoke of. Now Antony is ready to use his trump card, but to reach his climax, observe how he has skillfully organized his suggestions step by step, saving his most important statement, the one he relied on to act in the realms of sales and eloquence, for the end. Many men try to reach this point too quickly, rushing their audience or potential buyers, only to end up dissipating the appeal of their proposal. Oh, that's true, the will. Let us stay to hear his final wishes, Antony. Antony, here is the will with Caesar's seal. He leaves 75 drachmas to each Roman citizen. Second citizen, most noble Caesar, we will avenge your death. Third citizen, O Caesar. Antony, listen to me patiently, everyone, silence. Furthermore, he has left you all his possessions, his estates, his arbors, and his newly planted orchards. All of it he has left to you and your heirs forever, for you to walk and enjoy. First citizen, we will never have another like him. Let us leave here. Let us take his body to the sacred place, and with torches burn the houses of the traitors. Second citizen, go get some fire. Third citizen, knock down the benches. Fourth citizen, knock down the pillars or the windows, it doesn't matter. And so ended the trial of Brutus, for he lacked the personality and common sense to present his argument from the perspective of the Roman mob, as Mark Antony did. His entire demeanor indicated that he held himself in high regard, proud of his achievement. We all see people today who resemble Brutus in this regard, realizing that they accomplish little. Suppose Mark Antony had taken the platform with an arrogant attitude and started his speech this way. Let me tell you something about Brutus. He is a vile assassin by nature. He would not have gone far, as the crowd would have stopped him. As a skilled salesman and practical psychologist, Mark Antony presented his case in a way that made it seem not as his own idea, but the idea of the Roman crowd itself. Notice how the attitude of you is emphasized rather than I towards others. Observe how this same point is emphasized throughout the speech, and especially in Lesson 7 on enthusiasm. Shakespeare was by far the most skilled psychologist and writer known to civilization. That's why all his writings are based on an infallible understanding of the human mind. Throughout this speech he placed in Mark Antony's mouth, you will notice how carefully he assumed the you attitude, so skillfully that the Roman crowd was convinced that the decision came from them. However, it is crucial to underscore that Mark Antony's appeal to the personal interests of the Roman populace was not merely a display of rhetorical skill, but a strategic maneuver deeply rooted in an understanding of human psychology and persuasion. His approach was highly calculated and sophisticated, exploiting a principle that, though it can be used for varying purposes, is often employed in less scrupulous ways. This principle involves appealing to the greed and avarice of individuals, a tactic that has been utilized by many dishonest figures throughout history to manipulate and exploit others. Mark Antony's oration was a masterclass in political strategy, wherein he skillfully aligned his message with the desires and emotions of his audience. By doing so, he managed to sway the sentiments of the Roman crowd, turning them against Brutus and the conspirators, with remarkable effectiveness. His appeal was designed not only to address the immediate grievances and concerns of the mob, but also to tap into their deeper desires for personal gain and vengeance. This exploitation of the crowd's latent greed was a calculated risk that paid off significantly, demonstrating Antony's keen insight into the nature of political persuasion. Despite Antony's impressive ability to maintain a facade of benevolence towards Brutus, a quality that was, in reality, far from genuine, his underlying strategy was one of manipulation through flattery and emotional appeal. He knew that to sway the Roman crowd, he had to play on their emotions and biases. By acknowledging Brutus's reputation and then contrasting it with the reality of Caesar's virtues and the injustices done to him, Antony effectively shifted the crowd's perspective. His speech was laced with strategic flattery, designed to inflame the crowd's passions and align them with his own political objectives. Antony's ability to influence the crowd was not just about rhetoric, but also about timing and perception. He knew that the mood of the crowd could be molded and directed through careful orchestration of emotions and appeals to their self-interest. This manipulation of public sentiment was not merely a demonstration of oratorical skill, but a reflection of a deep understanding of the psychological levers that drive human behavior. In summary, Mark Antony's speech was a brilliant example of how personal interest and emotional manipulation can be used to achieve political objectives. His strategic use of flattery and appeals to the crowd's greed and sense of injustice highlights the power of persuasion and the importance of understanding the psychological dynamics of influence. While his approach was effective, it also underscores the ethical considerations of using such tactics in political discourse. illustrating how the art of persuasion can be wielded both for noble and dubious ends. The two letters reproduced in Lesson 7 of this course illustrate very well the value of the you and the futility of appealing to the I. Whether you are writing a sales letter, preaching a sermon, writing an advertisement, or a book, you would do well to follow the same principles employed by Mark Antony in his famous speech. Now let us turn to studying the forms and means by which a pleasant personality can be developed. Let's start with the first essential element, which is character. Indeed, no one can have a pleasant personality without a solid and positive foundation of character. Through the principle of telepathy, you telegraph the nature of your character to those you come into contact with, which is responsible for the intuitive feeling that the person you have just met, although you do not know them, is not trustworthy. You can adorn yourself in the most elegant and modern clothing and behave in the most pleasant manner outwardly, but if your heart is filled with greed, envy, hatred, jealousy, avarice, and selfishness, you will only attract those who are like you. Like attracts like, and so you can be sure that those who are attracted to you are those whose inner nature is similar to your own. To build and enhance your character effectively, begin by identifying individuals whose personalities embody the qualities you aspire to integrate into your own. These individuals can be historical figures, contemporary role models, or even people from your own life who exhibit traits you admire. Carefully observe and reflect on the characteristics that make these people exemplary in your eyes. Next, use the technique of auto-suggestion to assimilate these qualities into your own personality. Auto-suggestion involves repeatedly affirming and visualizing the traits you wish to adopt until they become a natural part of your behavior and mindset. Start by creating a vivid mental image of a council table. Imagine this table as a metaphorical space where you bring together the personalities of these admired individuals. Each night, before you go to bed, spend some quiet time at this imaginary council table. On the table, place a clear and concise written statement for each quality you wish to develop. For instance, if you admire a certain leader for their courage, write a statement like, "I am embodying the courage and decisiveness of leader's name." As you visualize this council meeting, mentally gather the personalities of these individuals around the table. Engage in a silent dialogue where you ask for their guidance and support in assimilating their virtues into your own life. Imagine them offering you advice, encouragement, and practical examples of how to embody these qualities. This mental exercise helps reinforce your commitment to personal growth and builds a strong foundation for change. Additionally, make a habit of reflecting on these qualities throughout your daily activities. Observe moments when you can practice the traits you are trying to assimilate and consciously apply them in real-life situations. For instance, if one of the qualities you are working on is empathy, actively seek opportunities to understand and share the feelings of those around you. By consistently engaging in this process of visualization, affirmation, and practical application, you gradually integrate these desirable qualities into your character. This approach not only enhances your personal growth, but also helps you align your actions and behaviors with the attributes you admire in others. In summary, building character involves a deliberate and structured approach. Start by selecting role models whose traits you wish to adopt. Use auto-suggestion to reinforce these qualities and regularly engage in mental exercises to visualize and internalize the desired attributes. With persistence and dedication, you will find yourself naturally embodying the qualities you aspire to, leading to profound personal transformation and growth. Then, proceed to affirm or suggest to yourself in clear and audible words that you are developing the desired conditions within you. While doing this, close your eyes and visualize in your imagination the figures seated around your imaginary table. Second, through the principles described in Lesson 8 on self-control, control your thoughts and keep your mind focused on positive thoughts. Let the dominant thought of your mind be an image of the person you are aspiring to be. The person you are deliberately building through this process, at least a dozen times a day whenever you have a few minutes to yourself. Close your eyes and direct your thoughts towards the figures you have selected to sit at your imaginary council table. Feel with unlimited faith that you are truly growing to resemble in character these figures of your choice. Thirdly, Make it a point to seek out at least one person each day, though the more you can find, the better, who exhibits a commendable quality deserving of recognition and praise. This practice is not merely about being polite or making superficial compliments. It is about genuinely acknowledging and appreciating the positive attributes and actions of those around you. Your praise should come from a place of sincerity, and it must be free from any hint of insincerity or false flattery. The aim is to make your words of praise meaningful and impactful. When offering praise, approach it with a sense of gravity and earnestness. Speak your words with such conviction that they resonate deeply with the person receiving them. Ensure that your praise highlights specific qualities or actions, showing that you have truly observed and valued what you are acknowledging. For example, if you admire someone's dedication or kindness, express exactly why you find these traits admirable and how they positively impact those around them. By delivering your praise in this thoughtful and genuine manner, you not only uplift the recipient, but also provide them with a valuable advantage. Such recognition can significantly boost their confidence and morale, reinforcing their positive behavior and encouraging them to continue exhibiting these qualities. Your sincere praise will make them feel appreciated and validated, which in turn strengthens their self-esteem and motivates them to further develop their admirable traits. This practice of regularly acknowledging the good qualities in others is a powerful tool for personal growth and relationship building. As you consistently make an effort to recognize and celebrate the positive attributes in those you encounter, you cultivate a habit of focusing on the strengths and virtues of others. This habit fosters a more positive and appreciative outlook on life, enhancing your interactions and relationships with those around you. Furthermore, by making a habit of seeking out and praising positive qualities, you align yourself with a mindset that values and encourages the best in people. This not only enriches your personal connections, but also contributes to creating a more supportive and uplifting environment in both your personal and professional spheres. In essence, this practice of genuine and specific praise helps you develop a keen eye for recognizing the good in others and reinforces a culture of appreciation and positive reinforcement. It is a meaningful step towards building stronger, more positive relationships and advancing your own personal development by embracing and nurturing the admirable qualities you observe in those around you. I cannot overemphasize the long-term effects of the habit of enthusiastically praising the good qualities in others. Be assured that this habit will soon reward you with a sense of self-respect and gratitude manifested by others, which will transform your entire personality. This is where the law of attraction comes into play, and those you praise will see in you the qualities you see in them. Your success in applying this formula will be proportional to your belief in its validity. I not only believe it is valid, I know it is, because I have used it successfully and have also taught others to use it successfully. Therefore, I have the right to promise you that you can use it with the same success. Moreover, with the help of this formula, you can immediately develop an attractive personality, which will surprise everyone who knows you. The development of such a personality is entirely under your control, a fact that gives you a tremendous advantage while also placing the responsibility on yourself. If you fail or neglect to exercise this privilege, then I now wish to draw your attention to the task of speaking aloud. The affirmation that you are developing the desired qualities you have selected as materials to build an attractive personality has two desirable effects. First, it sets in motion the vibration through which your words permeate and penetrate your subconscious, where they take root and grow to become a great driving force in your external and physical activities, thus directing the transformation of thought and shaping it into reality. Second, it develops in you the ability to speak with force and conviction, which will lead to great skill as a public speaker. Regardless of your vocation in life, you must be able to stand and speak convincingly, as this is one of the most effective ways to develop an attractive personality. Put feeling and emotion into your words as you speak, and develop a deep and rich tone of voice. If your voice tends to be high-pitched, lower it until it is soft and pleasant. One can never express an attractive personality through a harsh and shrill voice. You must cultivate your voice until it is rhythmic and pleasing to the ear. Remember that speech is your main means of expressing your personality, so it is advisable to cultivate a style that is both energetic and pleasant. I do not recall a single attractive and remarkable personality that did not possess the ability to speak with force and conviction. Study prominent men and women today wherever you find them, and note the significant fact that the more prominent they are, the greater their strength and effectiveness in speaking. Study prominent figures from the past in politics, and observe that the most successful were those who stood out for their ability to speak with force and conviction. In the fields of business, industry, and finance, it is significant that leaders possess a great ability to speak in public to achieve success. Indeed, no one can hope to become a prominent leader in a notable enterprise without developing the ability to speak with force and conviction. Even if a salesperson never delivers public speeches, they will still benefit if they develop this ability, as it enhances their power to speak convincingly in ordinary conversation. Let us briefly review the main factors involved in developing an attractive personality. First, get into the habit of taking an interest in others and devote yourself to finding their good qualities and speaking of them in terms of praise. Second, develop the ability to speak with force and conviction, both in your tone of ordinary conversation and in public meetings where you need to use an appropriate volume. Third, dress in a style suited to your physique and the work you do. Fourth, learn to shake hands to convey warmth and enthusiasm through this form of greeting. Fifth, draw others toward you, but only after they have felt an attraction to your personality. Seventh, remember that the only reasonable limitation is the one you set in your own mind. These 7 points cover the most important factors that constitute an attractive personality, but it is clear that such a personality will not develop on its own. It will develop if you submit to the discipline described here with the firm determination to become the person you would like to be. In studying this list of 7 important factors, I am inclined to highlight the second and fourth as the most important. If you cultivate these thoughts, feelings, and actions from which a positive character is built, and then learn to express yourself with force and conviction, you will have developed an attractive personality. For it will be evident that from this success will flow the other qualities mentioned here. There is a great power of attraction behind a person with a positive character, and this power is expressed through both visible and invisible sources. When you approach a person in this way, even without uttering a word, the influence of the invisible inner power is felt. Every obscure transaction you engage in, every negative thought you entertain, and every destructive act you commit destroys a large part of that subtle thing within you called character. There is a complete confession in our eyes, in our smiles, in our greetings, and in our handshake. Its sin tarnishes, spoils any good impression. People do not know why they do not trust him, but they do not trust him. His vice clouds his eye, degrades his cheek, pinches his nose, marks him with the brand of the beast on his neck. I would now like to draw your attention to the first of the 7 factors involved in developing an attractive personality. Have you noticed that throughout this lesson I have detailed the material benefits of being pleasant with others? However, the greatest benefit of all lies not in the possibility of monetary or material gain offered by this habit, but in the beautifying effect that the character of those who practice it acquires. Get into the habit of being pleasant to yourself, and you will benefit both materially and mentally. You will never be as happy otherwise as when you know you are making others happy. Stop challenging people and engaging in useless arguments. Remove your foggy glasses through which you see what you believe to be the blue of life, and instead behold the brilliant light of the sun of kindness. Put down your hammer and stop striking, for you surely know that the great prizes in life are for the builders, not for the destroyers. The man who builds a house is an artist. The one who demolishes it is a demolisher. If you wish to be a resentful person, the world will listen to your complaints as long as it does not see you coming. But if you are a person with a message of kindness and optimism, you will be listened to because people want to. No grumpy person can have an attractive personality. The art of being pleasant is the foundation of all successful sales. I drive my car without quotes to the limits of the city to buy gas that I could get just a few steps from my own garage, because the man who runs the gas station is an artist in the art of being pleasant. I go there not because the gas is cheaper, but because I appreciate the invigorating effect of his attractive personality. I conduct my banking at the Harriman National Bank on 44th Street and 5th Avenue, not because there are dozens of other good banks much closer to my workplace, but because the tellers, the hall detective, Mr. Harriman, and all others I come into contact with strive to be pleasant. My account is modest, but I am received as if I were important. I greatly admire John D. Rockefeller, Jr., not because he is the son of one of the richest men in the world, but because he too has mastered the art of being pleasant. In the small town of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, lives Mr. Garbin, a great merchant. To visit him, I would travel hundreds of miles, not because he is a wealthy merchant, but because he strives to be pleasant. However, I have no doubt that his material success is closely tied to this noble art of kindness he has acquired. I have a Parker fountain pen in my vest pocket, and my wife and children have pens of the same brand. Not because there are no other good fountain pens, not for the reason that led George to choose Parker, through his habit of being pleasant. Or you pilgrims in search of the end of the rainbow, you seekers of water and woodcutters, stay a while on the path and learn a lesson from the men and women who have succeeded because they have mastered the art of being pleasant. You may gain for a time through cruelty and cunning. You may amass more of this world's goods than you need through sheer force and clever schemes, without caring to be pleasant. But sooner or later, you will reach that point in life where you will feel the sting of remorse and the emptiness of your well-filled bag. I never think of power, position, and wealth, acquired through force without deeply feeling the sentiment expressed by a man whose name I do not dare to speak when I was before Napoleon's tomb. There was a moment when I stood near Napoleon's gold and magnificent tomb, worthy of a deity. I gazed at the rare and nameless marble sarcophagus where the ashes of this restless man finally rest. I leaned over the railing and thought of the career of the greatest soldier of the modern world. I saw him at Toulon. I followed him along the banks of the Seine, contemplating suicide. I saw him repressing the crowd in the streets of Paris and also at the head of the army in Italy. I saw him cross the bridge of Lodi with the tricolour in hand. I watched him in Egypt, in the shadow of the pyramids. I witnessed the conquest of the Alps and the mixing of the eagles of France with those of the rocks. I saw him at Marengo. I saw him in Russia when the snow infantry and the wild gale cavalry scattered his legions like the faded leaves of winter. I watched him at Leipzig, defeated and disastrous, driven back to Paris by 1,000,000 bayonets, clutched like a wild beast, exiled to the island of Elba. I saw him escape and reclaim an empire with the force of his genius. Then the terrible battlefield of Waterloo, where the fates combined to ruin the fortune of his former king. I saw him at St. Helena, hands clasped behind him, gazing at the sad and solemn sea. I thought of the widows and orphans he had caused, the tears shed for his glory, and the one woman who had loved him, driven from his heart by the cold hand of ambition. And I said, I would have preferred to be a French peasant and wear wooden shoes. I would have preferred to live in a cottage with a vine growing over the door and ripe grapes under the loving kiss of the autumn sun. I would have preferred to be that poor peasant, with my wife by my side, weaving as the day faded in the sky, with my children on my knees and their arms around me. I would have chosen to be that man and descend into the silence of the dust without dreams, rather than be that imperial personification of strength and murder known as Napoleon. I leave you with this reflection as a fitting conclusion for this lesson on a man who lived by force and died as a pariah in the eyes of his peers, a blight on the memory of civilization, ultimately a failure because he did not acquire the art of being pleasant, because he could not or would not subordinate the self to the good of his followers.